Hey YouTube, it's the red pill or the blue here. Today I wanted to do a video on how much ammunition for SHTF. All the channels that I've subscribed to and watched, they all have a video of how much ammunition they think you should have and their opinions on why they think that much. So I decided to do a video as well. Now I have two points of view here on how much ammunition to store. One on a short SHTF, like if it doesn't take more, if it takes less than a year or a year and a half to 2 years for regular commerce and trade and communications to come back online between a country, and then a longer event like an economic collapse or real bad economic collapse or a world collapse of the economy, and you could be on your own for who knows how long. So I'm going to start with the short SHTF event. I think that if there's an SHTF event happens, and you're forced to rely on your firearm to defend yourself, I think a good starting point for a main battle rifle would be 2,000 to 2,500 rounds of ammunition. And the reason that I think that would be a good starting point, as in if SHTF happened today and you had 2,000 rounds of ammunition, I think you'd be well off, at least a lot better off than most people, because if you have to go outside to go get supplies because you didn't prep a couple supplies that you overlooked, and you have to go out and find it. I think if you came in contact with somebody or a group of people, at least in my view, I don't have any military experience, so if I end up having to get behind a car for cover, I'm not going to be sticking my head out in looking for these people, pinpointing each round going down range. I'm going to be behind that car, sticking my gun out from the side or the top or the bottom under the tires, and just in shooting and throwing lead down range in order to get away, to retreat. And maybe one of those rounds hits close enough to these people where they duck and cover, and gives me a chance to rush 10 yards or 5 or 10, 15 yards to the next place of cover, and just keep doing that till I'm able to get away. And that's the reason why I think 2,000 to 2,500 rounds of ammunition for a short-term SHTF event is a good amount of ammunition. I think for a handgun, I think 500 to 1,000 rounds would be a good spot for how much ammunition for a short term, as well as for a hunting rifle. I think 500 to 100 or 500 to 1,000 rounds would be a good amount of ammunition as well. And then a shotgun, 500 rounds to 1,000 as well for short term. For long term, I think for your main battle rifle. Now, if this was like long term, is in like longer than 3 to 10 years, I think for a main battle rifle, for like an AK or an AR, I think 7,000 to 8,000 rounds is a good starting point. I think ideally 10,000 rounds would be a good spot to have ammunition for a long-term SHTF. And because if you decide to go with a battle rifle and you don't have enough money for a hunting rifle, and you want to, you're concerned about other preps like water and food, and you just decide with a battle rifle, if that battle rifle is going to become a hunting rifle, a defense weapon, and you're going to need enough ammunition where if you need to be able to have enough ammunition where you can go hunting, and if you have to go outside to do a reconnaissance, or you need to go scavenge, 10,000 rounds would be a good amount of ammunition. And the same goes with the short term. If I have to go outside and I end up having to engage in a firefight with somebody, I'm going to be spraying and praying pretty much. Maybe not that much, but I'm not going to be sitting there, aiming every round at a person. I'm going to try and get away as quickly as possible and get the heck out of there. Now, if you do have a hunting rifle, I think 2,000 to 2,500 rounds is a good place to have for ammunition for a hunting rifle, mainly because you can use it as a hunting rifle or long range if you need to pass 400 or 500 yards. And I think 2,000 rounds for a sidearm is a good amount because if they're close enough where you need to use a firearm, then I feel like it's over, especially if you don't have military training or law enforcement training. If you're just a civilian, if they're that close where you need to use a sidearm, I think it's pretty much over. And I think 1,500 to 2,000 rounds for shotgun ammunition for a long-term SHTF is a good amount to have as well. And for the main battle rifle, I'm going to do a video later on about magazines and how many I think you should have, or at least a starting point to have. But that is my view on how much ammunition I think you should have for a long-term and a short-term SHTF situation. If you like the video, subscribe and share, but don't forget, without sacrifice, there could be no victory.